Liberia's president says that he's on track to deliver progress in the poverty-struck West African country. The statement comes just days before the country is set to sail for polls. In fact, experts believe that this move is to convince people in his favor after his first term was marred by corruption allegations. The former soccer star came to power in 2017 on a wave of popular support after 2 unsuccessful attempts. The voters say that they are disappointed by his failure to improve living standards or tackle corruption. People have also voiced concerns over his incompetency to control the growing narcotics problem among destitute youths. Thousands of healthcare workers from one of US's largest non-profit health systems walked out of hospitals and medical offices. The workers of Kaiser Permanente have called a strike to demand better pay and benefits. With more than 75,000 employees out on the roads, this has become the largest healthcare workers' strike recorded in the US history. The protest comes after the healthcare giant failed to reach a new contract agreement. The strikes will run through Saturday at dozens of locations. Protesters will stage their demands across the states of California, Colorado, Washington, Virginia, Oregon, and Washington, D.C. The Pentagon has said that the U.S. military shot down an armed Turkish drone that came within 500 meters of American troops in northeastern Syria. Both U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and the new Joint Chiefs Chairman, General C.Q. Brown, spoke with their Turkish counterparts quickly after the incident. Pentagon Press Secretary Air Force Brigadier called it a regrettable incident. He added that the U.S. troops were forced to go to bunkers for safety as Turkey bombed targets nearby. Turkish drones were seen carrying out airstrikes in Hasaka on Thursday morning, about 1 kilometer away from U.S. troops. Drone footage has now emerged showing migrants braving razor wires to cross into Texas from Mexico. Dozens of migrants wade across the Rio Grande into Eagle Pass, Texas. They then surrendered to U.S. authorities for processing. On the other hand, President Joe Biden's administration announced it will add sections to a border wall to stave off record migrant crossings from Mexico. The administration said that they did not deviate from Biden's pledge that no more taxpayers' money would be diverted to the border wall. The administration explained that the money was allocated during Trump's term in 2019 and that the law dictated it had to be spent now. The man who set off smoke bombs on a crowded New York subway train before shooting 10 people in April 2022 has been sentenced to life in prison. This attack is seen as one of the most violent attacks ever seen on the city's transit system. Prosecutors said that he planned the attack for years to inflict maximum damage. All the victims survived but were left with long-lasting physical and psychological damage. The gunman was given 10 life sentences for each person that was shot and wounded, plus 10 additional years on a weapon charge by a U.S. District Court judge. At least 8 people have been killed in Turkey's drone strikes on the Kurdish-held zone of northeast Syria. Earlier this week, Turkey had said that all Kurdish militants' facilities in Syria and Iraq are valid targets. Now, this comes after Turkey claimed that 2 attackers who detonated a bomb in front of government buildings in Ankara last weekend had come from Syria. However, the Syrian Democratic Forces have denied that the bombers came through any territory it controls. Turkey has frequently carried out airstrikes in northern Iraq against outlawed militia groups. It has also carried out several cross-border incursions into Syria. An attack on a Syrian military academy has killed at least 112 people. The site was bombed with drones minutes after Syria's defense minister left a graduation ceremony. The state media blamed terrorist organizations for the strike in government-held Homs. There has been no immediate claim of responsibility. As per official news agency, armed terrorist organizations targeted the graduation ceremony for officers of the military academy in the central city of Homs. The military stated that the attack was carried out with explosive-laden drones and vowed to respond with full force. The government declared 3 days of mourning starting Friday. Israeli troops killed 2 Palestinian gunmen during clashes in the West Bank, in which 5 soldiers were also wounded. Israeli border police distributed a video said to show forces in Tulkarm during operation. The 2 Palestinians were in a car from which shots were fired at an Israeli vehicle near the town of Tulkarm. Following a pursuit, soldiers shot both of the Palestinians in a gunfight and recovered an assault rifle from their car. The Hamas Islamist militant group has claimed that the slain Palestinians aged 23 and 27 as its members. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with several European leaders at the European Political Community Summit. This forum, established last year following Russia's invasion of Ukraine to foster cooperation among more than 40 countries from Norway to Albania. Zelensky met with French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who restated their commitment to Kyiv. Support in Europe has appeared to be turbulent after pro-Russian former Prime Minister Robert Fico won an election in Slovakia last weekend. Fico has pledged to end military aid to Ukraine. However, Zelensky admitted he was concerned but said he was optimistic about continued support. A Russian missile slammed into a cafe and grocery store in a village in northeastern Ukraine. The attack killed 51 civilians as a memorial service was underway. The attack was the deadliest in the Kharkiv region since Russia's invasion began more than 19 months ago. It's also one of the deadliest attacks to take place in all of Ukraine in recent months. Images shared online by President Zelensky's office showed emergency workers examining a huge pile of crushed concrete and twisted metal at the scene. Russian President Vladimir Putin has now suggested that the plane crash which killed Wagner chief Prigozhin was caused by hand grenades detonating inside the craft and not by a missile attack. Putin suggested that the plane was blown up from inside, saying that the head of Russia's investigative committee had reported to him a few days ago. The private jet on which Prigozhin was traveling to St. Petersburg crashed north of Moscow, killing all 10 people on board. Putin did not give any more details about how a grenade could have been detonated on board. The investigators of the crash have yet to report publicly on the cause. India is set to host the P20 conference between 12th and 14th of October. Sources have confirmed that Canada will be a part of the meet amid growing tensions between the two countries. The conference is set to take stage after a month of G20 leaders summit that was held in New Delhi. Now, the P20 conference is a congregation of parliamentary speakers from the G20 nations. This will be the 9th meeting of the P20 group. Now, the P20 conference is a congregation of parliamentary speakers from the G20 nations, and this will be the 9th meeting. Russian and Bangladeshi officials inaugurated a nuclear power plant built by Russia in Rurpur. Bangladesh is building the first of the two nuclear plants in collaboration with Russian state-owned atomic company in a $12.65 billion project. The construction of the plant has been delayed due to 2 years of restrictions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and war-related sanctions. On the other hand, the first unit of the plant, with a total of generation capacity of 2,400 megawatts, was due to start operation in July next year, but it's facing a setback over loan repayments. Bangladesh has faced its worst electricity crisis since 2013 due to erratic weather and difficulty in paying for fuel imports. Japan's defense minister has said that he discussed about the expedition of Tomahawk cruise missiles with the US. The Japanese defense minister met with the US defense secretary in Washington and shared talks about the collaboration on military equipment. He expressed that the acquisition of Tomahawks was made to strengthen Japan's counter-strike capability in an increasingly difficult security environment. The minister also highlighted that North Korea's missile launches and Chinese patrols near Japanese territories are big challenges to Indo-Pacific security. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz affirmed his and EU support for Armenia after meeting with EU Council President. During a summit of the European political community, Scholz said that he had hoped the Armenian and Azerbaijani leaders would have participated in direct talks. Azerbaijan last month seized back control of a region populated by ethnic Armenians, and this has prompted more than 100,000 of them to flee to Armenia. On the other hand, Scholz also said that Germany was working on the supply of an additional Patriot air defense missile system to Ukraine in the winter months. Typhoon Koinu, that wreaked havoc in Taiwan, has finally moved out of the region. The typhoon is scrambling towards China's Guangdong province, alerting readiness for authorities. The typhoon in its Taiwan landfall killed at least one person and left over 356 others injured. It also hit 360,000 households by power outage, and work to restore power is still ongoing in Taiwan. Flash floods is wreaking havoc in India's Sikkim state. According to the latest reports, thousands of tourists have been stranded in Sikkim and they have been declared safe now. Army and local administration are providing assistance to restore road connectivity. Evacuations and rescue operations are expected to start today. Out of the 23 missing army personnel, one person was recovered alive. The flood has killed at least 19 and many still remain missing, while 26 others have been injured. Now this as a sudden cloudburst over Lonak Lake to overflow on Wednesday. Now, in order to boost the search operations in the state, the Indian Army has started 3 helplines for families of the missing. The EU Copernicus Climate Change Service has said that this year is on track to become the hottest on record. Scientists have said climate change combined with the emergence of the El Nino weather pattern has fueled recent record-breaking temperatures. Last month was the warmest September on record globally. September's high mark comes in the wake of the hottest summer on record in the Northern Hemisphere, as soaring temperatures show no signs of relenting. This comes as world leaders will convene in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates from November 30th to December 12th for talks on how to address the worsening climate crisis. US President Joe Biden's German Shepherd is no longer at the White House. The development comes in the wake of the dog's aggressive behavior against staffers. At least 11 attacks on the Secret Service members have been recorded by the president's dog named Commander. In July, nearly 200 pages of redacted federal documents were released describing the attacks. However, as per the document, none of the injuries sustained by the victims were serious. Elon Musk-led Tesla cut prices of some of its vehicles in the US Model 3 and Model X. Prices have been cut by about 2.7% to 4.2%. And according to the latest price updates on the company's website, this comes a month after the EV maker slashed prices for its premium models S and Model X cars. Tesla has been cutting prices aggressively this year to counter the effect of a slowing EV market while fending off competition from upstarts and legacy players. US gasoline prices are heading south and may hit $3 a gallon in many places in coming weeks, with crude oil futures down around $10 a barrel over economic fears and eroding demand. The drop in gasoline prices could benefit consumers and cool inflation, but it also may be a sign of economic weakness, with US government data showing the 4-week average of gasoline demand at lowest seasonals in 26 years. OpenAI, the company behind artificial intelligence chatbot ChatGPT, is reportedly exploring the possibility of manufacturing processing chips in-house amid a global shortage of the expensive and difficult to produce hardware. A Reuters report suggests OpenAI has even evaluated an unnamed company as a potential target for an acquisition to help with its AI chip-making ambitions. Remember, since the public launch of ChatGPT in November last year, the demand for specialized AI chips has skyrocketed.